Hello and welcome to Senior Soundwaves radio show sponsored by Visiting Angels. This is the show where we help seniors and their loved ones be in the know. We discuss some of the issues that affect our seniors and some practical solutions to the challenges they face. I'm Matt Thompson, and I'm so happy you're with us today.
Hi, you're listening to Senior Soundwaves presented by Visiting Angels. My name's Jennifer, and today we're talking with The Chapter Ahead with Jason and Jud. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about The Chapter Ahead?
Sure. We are a full service option for folks who are going through the process of moving mom or dad into assisted living, or if mom or dad has recently passed and the family is left with a home full of a lifetime of treasures and you are feeling overwhelmed about what has to happen, we are one call to take care of everything for you.
Yeah, right. We're trying to make it really easy. It's a very stressful time, and the last thing you want to think about in that situation is all the logistics and moving and how to clean things out, and even worse, sometimes the family isn't even living in the same location as mom or dad. So there could be siblings that are scattered around the country or the state, and everyone has to kind of pull together and make stuff happen, and we're here to help.
We know that feeling can be very overwhelming for them, so we want to just be able to step in and take the burden off of the family at a time when they, quite honestly, should be focused on other things.
Yes, exactly. Can you share a little bit about your journey and how you got to this field?
Idea kind of came when my own father passed, and I saw my mom is in perfectly fine health, but she had a home in the Madison area and a home in Florida, and she couldn't see clearly to put one foot in front of the other to do what needed to be done. And it just made me think that, if my family was in a situation where mom was going into assisted living, dad wasn't around anymore, who's going to take care of this? I have a full-time job. My wife has a full-time job. My only brother lives in Denver. And I thought there's got to be a solution here, makes this easy for the family so they really, as I said, can focus on taking care of mom or dad.
How do they get a hold of you? Like, how can they find you if they're in this stressful moment and these decisions have to be made?
Yeah, I mean, all the usual ways, I guess. We have a website that kind of covers all of the overview of what we do, and from there you can get an email or phone number if that's how you want to communicate with us. And we stay active in the community of kind of aging companies that help people through all kinds of things, and so we're trying to stay on top of like what are the best options for every scenario, and I don't know, we try to be present everywhere we can.
Yeah, if you visit thechapterahead.com, you'll see all of our offerings and contact information for us.
Okay, wonderful. And how are the steps? So let's say somebody gives you a call. They're in that stressful time. What are the steps? What are the steps you take to start them on that path?
So we're going to meet with the family to begin with. We're going to take a look at the house, okay? And then we are going to assess the services that we provide. We begin with an estate sale, and then everything that's left in the house after the estate sale, we're going to try to donate as much as we can. We want as few items to hit the landfill as possible. And then we're going to clear the house out. After that, we clean the house, clean it, ready it for sale, and then we actually list the house and sell it on the open market. Or if the family wishes to just sell the house as it is, we bring in several investors to take a look and make you offers on the house. That's a different path. And we go over that on the website about how there's really two different paths to do it. I should mention that the very first step, if we're doing the full, suite of our options, is to get all of the family in there to take anything that is sentimental to them first. That's first what we want taken out. Then we take over. And then we can offer services again with one call all the way up to moving mom or dad. Anything that you can imagine that is part of that process, we can take care of all of it.
Yeah, something also unique with us is if you were to try to do all this yourself and figure out all these solutions. Along the process, you're going to have to be paying for all this. And if you work with us and there's a home sale that's part of the deal, we'll defer all the costs until the closing of the house. So nobody has to come up with any money through the process. So you don't need siblings that decide how they're going to split costs. And so we try to keep it really simple and make this a really painless, stress-free process.
Yes, I can imagine. I can't think of all the different dynamics of siblings. And I was going to ask that question, like what happens when families come in, they want this, they want that. So that's very nice that you allow them that time to just kind of settle the personal sentimental values before. So that's really
and
nice.
we don't rush anything. It's on the timeline of the family.
Yeah.
So
we can work with whatever they want, however they want it to be done, because every situation is unique to itself.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Do you have any particularly interesting stories that you've come across in your journeys with the chapter ahead? Something that really made you, maybe pivot the way you're doing things?
I think that we've learned a lot as we've gone through it. I think that it's fair to say that the picture of how this would all work that was in my head has been proven to take some detours at times. We've had some situations where it went exactly the way we thought it would. Where it started with let's have the family go through and grab things, and then we did the estate sale, and then we cleared the house out, and then we put the house on the market, and we got the family $25,000 more than asking price on the house because we know how the real estate market is now, and everything was perfect. And then we had another situation where, the gentleman who contacted us was just so happy with what we did. He actually said to me that I lifted a huge weight off his shoulders just in the first conversation that we had, because he, after his aunt had gone into assisted living, he discovered that she really had not removed anything from the house for about 5 years after COVID. And she was in this house in the woods by herself, and he had to fill a dumpster to be able to clear a path to the different rooms because she just was left there. She was there by herself and nobody was checking on her. And so we, in that case, had to clear about 12,000 pounds of items out of the house. So, we've come across some interesting situations, but it was, both of those scenarios, we ended up with a client at the end of it who was just very, very grateful for what we were able to do for them. And I think that's probably the best part about this business is that, this thing that we started is at the end of it, we have people who are very, very happy with what we were able to do for them, which is that's a nice way to live.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love the stories. Any other stories or?
I think it's interesting what you find in the houses, when you're going through and just the things. I mean, to be honest with you, I always tell people too, nobody's going to get rich on the estate sale. I mean, mom has these things that she kept and they're very important to her. But, so we go through things and find very interesting things. In fact, on one of them, we were going through the master bedroom closet and found about $400 cash that was tucked away in little nooks and crannies. So again, our client there was very pleased when we, told them we found this cash, and he actually tried to give it to us when we were closing on the house, but we said, no, that's not what we do. This is for you. It was, it belonged to your family. So.
Well, it's so nice that they can have you come in and really feel like they can trust you and you're there in the best interest to help them.
Yeah, I mean, we're out of Northeast Wisconsin, and Northeast Wisconsin, we always say, is a small community, and we're going to do the right thing at every turn. That's the best way to, continue to be able to do this, I think.
Yes, and to have the trust, and to feel like you're working with not a company, but somebody who really is working with you as a part of your community.
Yeah, and we're just people too. We've been on the other side of this with parents and grandparents, and so that's what motivated us to help and so being on both sides is we want this experience to be as positive and memorable in a good way. We do whatever we can to make that happen.
So how long have you been in business together? How did you come about working together?
About 2 years was probably about when we came together. So my background is in real estate. I'm a realtor, and that fed into this idea, because I knew that I could handle the home selling part of it. And we actually have a third partner, Amanda, who is Jason's wife. And she's probably the most talented part of the group.
For sure. Yeah, I'll second that.
But she didn't want to do the radio show. So I actually met Jason and Amanda because I helped them sell a condo and buy a house. And so I got to know them through that process because anytime that I get to meet, people through the real estate, I, love to do that. I just love meeting people and getting to know them. And so I knew that they had a marketing background, and I'll let Jason talk a little bit about, what they do. But I knew that in order to get this off the ground, I was going to need the marketing pieces, and I knew that they were entrepreneurs, and I really trusted and found them to be, what I thought would be a valuable part of it. And so I reached out to them, and off we went.
That's amazing.
Jud, we found him helping sell houses and things, and we kind of created a friendship for a few years. And then, he reached out with the idea. And since my wife and I were self-employed and doing marketing and media, it was just like a natural fit to work together. And like I said, we've been through the other side of this. So when he presented the idea, it like clicked and it made sense. And we're like, we can help people for sure.
Yeah, and if you go to the website, thechapterahead.com, you'll see why I say Amanda's the most talented part of it, because she built the website, and it really, truly is really neat. It exceeded my expectations by far.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, you're listening to Senior Sound Waves, presented by Visiting Angels, and we'll be right back after this break.
Senior Sound Waves is a program developed and sponsored by Visiting Angels. More of our program coming up next.
When the time comes for a helping hand, we're America's choice in home care. When you or your loved ones need assistance, Visiting Angels will be there.
Did you know Visiting Angels offers a Veterans Choice program? Many veterans qualify for VA programs that could result in little or no cost to them. Visiting Angels can help you navigate your options. Some of these programs even extend to the spouse of the veteran. Being the primary caregiver for a loved one is not easy, and oftentimes you don't take time for yourself. Trust Visiting Angels. It can also be just as important to your loved one to spend time with others for mental stimulation. Log on visitingangels.com.
We will design a detailed care plan suitable to your needs. You can stay in your own home and get excellent, comfortable, safe care with Visiting Angels. Check out our website at visitingangels.com.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
Senior Sound Waves is the show where we help seniors and their loved ones be in the know. Now back to more Senior Sound Waves presented by Visiting Angels.
Welcome back to Senior Sound Waves, presented by Visiting Angels. Today we are with our guests, the chapter ahead, Jud and Jason. And I was just about to ask Jason about his background, how he found marketing, how he and Amanda began working together, and how it brought the team together, the chapter ahead.
Yeah. My wife and I, Amanda, she's a graphic designer, and I'm kind of like just a general kind of media marketing guy. We do all kinds of things for all different sizes of companies. So we own our own business. We're self-employed and we work from home. And we always joke we were doing it before COVID made it cool. We were working from home for over 10 years now. So with our businesses, we help all kinds of local businesses and large companies with their marketing and media needs. And Jud knew that after we met, and so we were kind of a one-stop shop to help design all kinds of sales materials and shoot videos, and we fly drone and all kinds of stuff. And it was a kind of a good fit of just, we could tell this story. That's kind of how we like to lead with our projects, is tell the story. And the chapter head concept had a great story, and we were passionate about kind of doing good for the world, and it just all kind of came together.
Well, I think that's wonderful that when with real estate, with Jud's side, you also have to have somebody to come in and take those pictures and make the property look amazing and to really present on social media. So that's wonderful that you can do that all. It's a one-stop.
It's the three of us so far. There's the whole company, from the social media and website design and.
Yeah, and I think the part that really kind of makes the thing go is, it's great that we have the realtor part and the marketing part, but also it's the entrepreneurial spirit of Jason and Amanda. And just, when you're doing something like this, we are constantly going to be asked to do things that are just a little out of the norm. And so it's being able to pivot and being able to just, we will get that done. Regardless of what your needs are. Like I said before, we have this picture in our head of what your needs are going to be, but whatever your needs are, we're just going to take care of it. We're just going to take it off of your plate and get you through it.
We always find a way. If schedules change or families change, we're going to just do whatever it takes to make everyone happy through the process, which is kind of like entrepreneurship too.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
You just have to make it happen.
Yeah. So it's about a 2-year-old company, correct?
Correct.
So what do you see in the future? Do you see, maybe serving more I should ask, what locations can you serve for sure?
Well, so I'm licensed in the state of Wisconsin, so I technically could sell a house anywhere in the state of Wisconsin. We do say that, my brand may not be as recognizable in southern Wisconsin, right? So then the best bet for someone would be for me to refer you to an agent from that area, and we will still take care of everything. We just wouldn't be the agent that sells the house. In terms of long-term goals, though, we've already been asked. In fact, Amanda shared a post on Facebook the other day about the company, and we had a lot of really positive response to that. And one of the questions that a lot of people asked is, how far do you go? It would be great if this was in other areas. And that is kind of the long-term goal, is to help other people in other communities kind of take on the model and, help them build their business, doing the same thing under the Chapter Ahead name. So, who knows? Maybe in, 10 years, it might be all over Wisconsin or all over the country.
That's very exciting. Very, very exciting.
One of the things that we've heard from a lot of people, as we've, obviously that's, how we met you, was just talking with people that are in the senior care world. And I always say to people, almost every single person that we tell them about the model says, what an amazing idea, that you're doing this. And then they ask, well, is anybody else doing it? And the answer is no. No one else is doing all of this under one roof with one phone call.
Yeah, you have to put a lot of work into managing all these different solutions and scheduling. That's essentially what our focus is one-stop shop.
And when you say you do the estate sales, correct? How does that process look like? What does that look like?
Well, we have for the estate sale, because we are doing many different things, we are not doing all of it ourselves. So we don't host the estate sale. We have several different companies that do estate sales that will do them for us. And we find that that's the best solution for the client because they know estate sales, and we don't. I'm not the best person to host an on-site or online estate sale for you because, quite honestly, when I look at those porcelain figurines that your mom has, I don't know the value of them. But the people who do that for a living do. And so, again, when I say that we pivot and make it work for everybody, every house is almost in need of its own specific kind of estate sale. Like we have one company that we work with that has a database of over 1 million people around the world. And so they do everything online, right? And then we have others who do it on site, right? So it's like a really, really professional looking sale in the house, right? And they know exactly what they're doing. They know their process and all of that. So we do have different vendors that we work with to make it all come together and give people the best experience they can have.
Oh, that's very reassuring. I know everyone looks at everyone's belongings a little bit differently, right? The owners find them to be irreplaceable and priceless, and others might think elsewhere. So that's very good. It takes that personal connection away when you have another professional company coming in and handling that. That's fantastic. Do you have maybe one of your examples of really coming in and taking it from start to finish with a family that was completely out of state? Have you had to do that at all?
Yeah, we had one young woman who was from Tampa, Florida, and her father was in Green Bay. And we started the process. We got involved when the assisted living facility that he was going into referred us to her. She said she couldn't believe that this was going to be this easy. And hers was exactly the way I envisioned it, the process. The family came up from Tampa, took what they found to be sentimental. And then we came in, did an on-site estate sale, sold everything, even down to a riding lawnmower, for them. And then did the clear out, did the clean up. And again, listed the house and got, thousands of dollars more than they expected for the house. And that was, exactly the way we want it to go. And, there were several text messages back and forth where she would just say, I can't tell you enough how easy you have made this for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. I can't imagine trying to do something out of state and to have a company like the Chapter Ahead be able to completely start to finish, take care of it, and take that weight and burden off of a family when they really just want to focus on celebrating, their loved ones instead of having to deal with, bits and pieces that are left behind. So that's very comforting. It's so good to know that you're out there. So what would you say is the most important lesson that you've learned with your company so far?
I mean, Jud's sort of touched on this too, is just being flexible, because life is complicated and there's a lot of variables, and as much as you want to plan and predict, it doesn't always go your way. So it's always staying flexible and putting our families, our customers first, and just doing whatever it takes. There was a time I drove a box of stuff that was left behind down to Milwaukee to put it on their front step, because it was missed and it was heavy, and we thought shipping it was going to cost too much money, and it's like, do whatever it takes, because that's the most important thing.
I think the thing that I've learned the most in the people that we've been able to help so far is that people are worth it. When you do this thing and you come out on the other side of it and see how happy they are with what you were able to do for them, it just feels really good to be able to help them. And it's, people are worth doing the extra step for.
Well, I would encourage anyone out there listening to think of the chapter ahead when you're faced with that circumstance of a loved one, even if they're just moving or if they've passed, they've lived in the house for years and years. Think of the chapter ahead to help you through that process, start to finish. You've got these partners in your community to help you, and it's so good to know. Where have you started? Where's the hub of your company? We're
based out of Green Bay. Yeah. And like Jud said, we can handle, projects or situations, we've done as far as 2 hours away, I guess, so far. And we have a new situation that might pop up where it's kind of the reverse of what we thought this would look like. Speaking of always adapting, like the parents, they're aging, live far away, and the kids live here. And so we're kind of doing the reverse scenario. So we're based out of Green Bay, but we're open to trying to make people's lives easier wherever they are.
Yeah, and I specialize, in the real estate side of it. We're in Green Bay, but we go north to the UP and east to the Lakeshore, west to Shawano, and all the way down to Fond du Lac in terms of, what we would sell when we would sell the house instead of referring it to another agent.
Fantastic. Well, you've been listening to Senior Sound Waves with the Chapter Ahead. sponsored by Visiting Angels.
Senior Soundwaves is a program developed and sponsored by Visiting Angels where we help seniors and their loved ones be in the know. Join us next time for another edition of Senior Soundwaves.